Tonight on Mello TV Sports, DeAndre Dotting among the overseas players to feature in the Women's T20 Challenge. The Bangladesh Premier League postponed due to coronavirus. And multiple persons arrested and buildings destroyed following celebrations of fans following the LA Lakers NBA title win. We bowl off Mello TV Sports with cricket as West Indies standout DeAndre Dotting is among overseas players from 7 countries to feature in the upcoming Women's T20 Challenge scheduled to be held in the UAE from November 4 to 9. Dotting, coming off a good outing recently in England, will turn out for Trailblazers to be captained by India's Smriti Mandhana. Harmanpreet Kaur and Mithali Raj will lead the other 2 teams, Supernovas and Velocity, at the week-long tournament consisting of 3 round-robin matches and a final. All the 3 squads will be put in one hotel, most likely in Dubai, and will be part of a biosecure bubble. No venue has been announced yet, with all 4 games likely to be played in Sharjah. Just like the 8 IPL franchises, the women's contingent will undergo a mandatory 6-day quarantine at the team hotel, during which tests will be carried out on days 1, 3, and 5. Each of the 3 sides will take part in at least 4 training sessions before the start of the tournament, which will run alongside the IPL playoffs. Speaking of the IPL, Kolkata Knight Riders today left out Sunil Narine out of the team for their IPL game against Royal Challengers Bangalore, which they lost by 82 runs in Sharjah. Narine was reported for suspect action in the match against the Kings 11 Punjab on Saturday. The Trinidadian was placed on a warning list by the IPL, which said the off-spinner would be suspended in case he were to be reported again this season. Narine and his team were surprised at his being reported at the halfway stage of the tournament because there were no concerns expressed by any match officials in the 5 previous outings prior to the Kings 11 match. The IPL said Narine's suspect actions were reported by the on-field umpires Chris Gaffney and Ulhas Gandhi. However, they did not specify which type of delivery or deliveries Narine was reported for. Meanwhile, Knight Riders today folded for 112 for 9, chasing 194 against Bangalore. Andre Russell made 16, the joint second-best score, behind 34 from Shubman Gill. A.B. de Villiers earlier carded 73 not out from 35 balls, with 5 fours and 6 sixes, carried the Bangalores to 192 for 2. Now, Russell bowled Devdutt Padikkal for 32, but conceded 51 runs from his 4 overs for the lone wicket. RCB remained 3rd in the standings but are now level on 10 points with table toppers Mumbai Indians and second-placed team Delhi Capitals, while Kolkata Knight Riders are 2 points behind that group in 4th position. The Bangladesh Cricket Board BCB has postponed the 2020-2021 season of the Bangladesh Premier League as coronavirus continues to rage in the country. BCB President Nazmul Hassan says the board's main issue is hosting overseas players and broadcast personnel in an environment that is currently deemed dangerous. The apex body of cricket in Bangladesh has proposed that they finish the remainder of the 2019-2020 Dhaka Premier League later in the year. The International Cricket Council today set October 18 as the deadline for its board of directors to send names of potential candidates for the chairman's post to replace Shashank Manohar, ending the impasse on the nomination period. The process will be overseen by an independent chairman of the ICC Audit Committee. However, the global body has not specified the voting procedure in case there are multiple candidates. That is precisely the reason ICC has stated that the next chairman might assume office only from the month of December. The process of nomination, however, remains the same, where a current board of directors nominates a candidate and is seconded by another director. Former Cricket West Indies president Dave Cameron is seeking to be the next ICC chairman. On to basketball news. 76 people were arrested and more than 30 buildings and businesses were damaged when a downtown celebration turned chaotic after the Los Angeles Lakers won their 17th NBA title. Causes for the arrests include failure to disperse, vandalism, and assault on a police officer. 8 officers were treated for injuries and 3 members of the crowd were taken to hospitals after being injured by so-called less lethal munitions fired by officers. Police said the celebration by about 1,000 people was initially largely peaceful, but unruly individuals mixed into the crowd and threw glass, bottles, rocks, and other projectiles at officers. Now, the LA Lakers defeated the Miami Heat 106-93 last night in Orlando, Florida, to win the NBA Finals in 6 games. The sounds of fireworks immediately reverberated across Los Angeles, and fans headed to the Staples Center, the Lakers' home court, to celebrate despite admonitions to stay away. We carry over to football news now. Former U.S. Women's International Team manager Jill Ellis is on the list of candidates for the vacant managerial post at MLS side DC United. Other candidates are former Real Salt Lake and New York City FC manager Jason Kreis, as well as former Schalke manager David Wagner. The search is in its early stages, but if hired, Ellis will be the first woman to manage an MLS side. The 54-year-old woman enjoyed a stellar run with the U.S. women's national team from 2014 to 2019, a period in which she led the U.S. to World Cup titles in 2015 and 2019. Now, including a stint as interim manager in 2012, Ellis compiled a record of 106-7 and 19. The only blemish on her tenure was a quarterfinal exit at the 2016 Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, when the U.S. lost on penalties to Sweden. She stepped down from the U.S. post following the 2019 World Cup victory. Now to end tonight's sports package, we present you with the play of the night, Ben Stokes' wonderful catch for England versus South Africa.
The best.
And those are the stories making sports news tonight. I'm Christopher Scott. Good evening.
The Mello TV Evening News at 8 was brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue and dispose of it. Avoid close contact with anyone with the cold or flu-like symptoms. If you think you've been exposed to COVID-19, stay home, self-isolate immediately, and call 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.